What if the biggest thing holding you back right now isn't your lack of money, your lack of connections, your lack of time, or even your lack of motivation, but something much simpler and much more dangerous? The way you spend your attention every single day. Because attention is the real currency of the modern world, and most people are broke without even realizing it. Scrolling for hours, jumping between notifications, reacting instead of creating, consuming instead of building, and then wondering why their goals feel far away and their progress feels slow. So let's talk about the one life hack that can completely transform your productivity, your mental clarity, your income potential, and even your happiness. And that is mastering deep focus in a distracted world. Because if you can control your attention, you can control your life. Imagine waking up tomorrow, and instead of grabbing your phone and diving into messages, news, and social media, you sit in silence for 5 minutes, you breathe, you decide the one most important task that will move your life forward, and you commit to working on it with 0 distractions for just 30 focused minutes. No switching tabs, no checking notifications, no background noise designed to steal your mind. Just pure intentional effort, and at first it will feel uncomfortable because your brain has been trained to crave constant stimulation, but that discomfort is exactly the sign that you are rebuilding your focus muscle. Most people underestimate how powerful 30 minutes of deep work can be because they measure productivity by hours spent rather than quality of attention invested. Yet 1 hour of uninterrupted concentration can outperform an entire day of fragmented multitasking. Here is the science behind it in simple terms. Every time you switch tasks, your brain pays a cognitive switching cost, meaning it takes time and energy to refocus. And if you switch every few minutes, you never reach the level of depth where real progress happens. So the hack is not about doing more, it is about switching less. Start by creating a distraction-free environment. Put your phone in another room, or at least on airplane mode. Close unnecessary tabs. Use full screen mode for whatever you are working on, and set a visible timer for 25 to 40 minutes. Telling yourself that during this window, nothing else exists except the task in front of you. This technique is simple, almost boring, but boring systems often produce extraordinary results because they remove decision fatigue. Now, here is where it becomes powerful and potentially viral in your own life. Stack this focus session daily around one high-leverage activity. Something that compounds over time, like learning a new skill, building a side project, writing content, studying for a certification, exercising, or planning your finances, and commit to doing it before you consume any entertainment. Think of it as paying yourself first with attention, because the world will always take your focus if you do not guard it. Another powerful layer to this hack is what I call intentional input, which means being selective about what you allow into your brain, since your thoughts are heavily influenced by what you consume. And if you start your day with negativity, comparison, and chaos, you prime your mind for distraction and insecurity. But if you start with learning, reflection, or even silence, you create a mental environment that supports growth. So instead of opening social media first thing, try reading 10 pages of a book, listening to an educational podcast while preparing breakfast, or journaling your top 3 priorities for the day, and you will notice that your actions become more aligned with your long-term goals rather than your short-term impulses. Now, let's talk about energy, because focus is not just about time management, it is about energy management. And your brain's ability to concentrate depends on sleep, nutrition, hydration, and movement, which sounds basic but is often ignored. So one of the most underrated life hacks is protecting your sleep as if it were a business asset. Because in a way, it is. Poor sleep reduces memory, creativity, and decision-making, while good sleep amplifies all 3. Combine that with regular movement, even a 10-minute walk outside, and you dramatically improve your cognitive performance. Here is another layer that can change everything. Design your environment so that good behavior is easier than bad behavior. For example, if you want to focus more, keep your workspace clean and minimal. If you want to read more, place a book on your desk instead of your phone. If you want to eat healthier, prepare meals in advance so you are not forced to rely on willpower when you are tired. Because willpower is unreliable, but systems are powerful. The reason this becomes viral advice is that it applies to almost every area of life. Whether you want to build a YouTube channel, improve your finances, get in shape, learn a language, or strengthen relationships. Because all progress requires sustained attention over time. Imagine applying just 1 hour of deep focus every day for a year to a meaningful goal. That is 365 hours of concentrated effort, which is more than most people invest in their dreams in several years combined. And that is how ordinary people create extraordinary outcomes. Now, let's add a social component, because humans are influenced by their environment and the people around them. So if you surround yourself digitally or physically with individuals who value growth, discipline, and learning, you raise your own standards without forcing yourself, which is why curating your feeds, joining communities aligned with your goals, or even sharing your progress publicly can increase accountability and momentum. Another practical hack is the 2-minute rule for starting difficult tasks, which means telling yourself you only need to work on something for 2 minutes, because starting is often the hardest part. And once you begin, momentum carries you forward. You can also use a simple daily review at night, asking yourself 3 questions. What did I do well today? What distracted me? And what is the one priority for tomorrow? And this creates a feedback loop that continuously improves your focus system. Here is something most people overlook. Boredom is a superpower in disguise, because when you allow yourself to be bored without instantly reaching for stimulation, your brain begins to think, to process, to connect ideas, which is where creativity is born. So instead of fearing silence, embrace it. Turn off music sometimes, sit with your thoughts, and you may discover solutions to problems that felt impossible. And finally, remember that mastering attention is not about becoming a robot who never relaxes. It is about being intentional. So when you choose to rest, do it fully. Enjoy it without guilt, because deliberate rest restores your ability to focus deeply later. And now, let's go even deeper, because once you understand that attention is power, you begin to see how companies, apps, and platforms are engineered to capture and monetize it. Which means every notification is a negotiation for your future, every scroll is a trade between your goals and someone else's profit. And if you do not consciously decide where your focus goes, algorithms will decide for you. So here is an advanced layer of this life hack. Schedule distraction. Instead of allowing distraction to schedule you, choose specific times in the day when you check messages, social media, and news. And outside of those windows, protect your mind fiercely, because boundaries create freedom. You might think this sounds extreme, but extreme focus creates extraordinary results. And ordinary distraction creates ordinary outcomes. Another powerful technique is visualizing your future self. Before starting your focus session, imagine who you become. If you repeat this habit for 5 years, imagine the skills you build, the income you generate, the confidence you develop, and then compare that to the version of you who continues reacting to every notification, and ask yourself, which path deserves your attention today? This simple mental contrast increases commitment and reduces impulsive behavior. Also understand that progress compounds invisibly at first, meaning you will not see massive results after 1 week or even 1 month. But if you stay consistent, there will come a moment when the results feel sudden to everyone else, even though you know they were built quietly through disciplined focus. This is how creators grow channels, how entrepreneurs build businesses, how students master subjects, and how ordinary people redesign their lives. The final truth is this: you do not need more time, you need more intention. You do not need more motivation, you need fewer distractions. And you do not need a secret shortcut, you need a protected hour of deep, deliberate focus repeated consistently. If you can master that, you unlock leverage in every area of your life. Because focus builds skill, skill builds value, value builds income, income builds freedom, and freedom builds a life designed on your terms. So starting now, choose one meaningful goal. Block 1 focused hour tomorrow. Remove 1 major distraction and commit for 30 days. Because 30 days of controlled attention can reset years of scattered effort. And when you look back, you may realize that the most viral, life-changing hack was not a trick, not a gadget, not an app, but the decision to take back control of your attention and direct it toward the future you truly want. And if you really want to take this to the next level, measure your focus like you would measure money. Because what gets measured gets improved. Track how many deep focus sessions you complete each week. Write it down. Turn it into a visible scoreboard. And challenge yourself to beat your previous record. Because when focus becomes a game, consistency becomes easier. Also remember that discipline is not about being perfect. It is about returning quickly when you slip, because you will get distracted. You will have off days. But the difference between average and exceptional is not the absence of distraction. It is the speed of recovery. So forgive yourself fast and refocus faster. The future belongs to those who can concentrate longer than the rest. And in a distracted world, that alone makes you unstoppable.